Are you parenting a neurodiverse child, teen, young adult? Are you struggling to find your a place or help your young person find a place where they belong? Well, if you answer yes to either of those questions, you are in the right place. Today, we have a wonderful person who is here who is going to talk with us about creative supports for our neurodiverse teens and adults. We have Cassandra Lee Walker. How are you, Cassandra?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for asking. How are you today?
I'm so good, and I'm so honored to have you here today to talk about this topic with us.
Woohoo! Thanks for having me.
Yes, so good. So, families, this is our Lunch and Learn here, sponsored by the Stanford Autism Advocacy Group. And we are just honored to be able to bring topics here and share those that are beneficial for anyone who is parenting a child with unique needs. And so today we're going to be talking about those creative supports for our teens and adults with Cassandra. Cassandra is an expressive arts practitioner. She's also a micro business mentor, which is awesome. I love that. And I know that that is something that is beginning to grow in the neurodiversity community. So I'm looking forward to having you share about that. Cassandra has facilitated one-on-one and community art sessions with clients and desire to explore those who desire to explore a wide variety of art modalities, expressive arts therapy. I know you'll tell us a little bit more about that, but that is for individuals to process and explore their responses and reactions and through a creative art process. And the micro mentoring that you're doing, helping neurodiverse young adults to turn their passions into profit, which is amazing. And so, tell us a little bit, Cassandra, about what brought you to this space that you're in right now.
Yeah, sure. At a very young age, we're talking probably it was around 9 years old. I was in my first production a stage production. It was Treasure Island, and I was Jim Hawkins, and this was a huge deal. It was my first time on the stage, not in a school production, and there it was the most empowering feeling, and it was, I can't even describe like what it was like to be on stage for me. And at that moment I was like, Mom, Dad, this is something I want to do. I want to be involved in theater arts. The feeling, I mean, as a kid, I just couldn't explain. I just felt so powerful, and free.
Mhm.
And it was at that moment then that I joined a conservatory, after school program, and I went to the conservatory about a handful of days a week. And there I was, it was so full of just so many. I was singing, dancing, acting. I was in a handful of plays every single year, musicals. From that moment, then I was like, okay, I went to college for theater. I got my BA in theater. I lived in New York City. That's where I was from. That's when I started to pursue improv and sketch comedy, and a lot of on camera acting. I
Mhm.
moved to LA, and I continued to pursue that there. And it was like during that moment, it was like my second, about, let's see, third year in, I'd say, in LA, that things kind of started to shift.
Mhm.
Our life our lived experiences, what we go through in life, kind of took me down a different path. I was involved in um, uh, sketch comedy at that point, and I was working with an amazing sketch team every week. But I started to notice that pursuing uh, pursuing acting the way that I initially was like, oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I do. It There was a shift.
Mhm.
I began to realize more the need for it, how it made me feel. Um, how I craved it when I was going through points of my life that were really hard and difficult. It was there. It was my safe place.
Mhm.
And it was at that moment that I was like, huh, this is the shift. I want to know more about this because this is very powerful. And how can I share what I'm feeling right now with others? Because others out there may have the same similar feeling as I do. There's something so powerful with the arts here. And it was
Mhm.
at that moment that I looked into getting a master's degree.
Mhm.
And I was like, do I want to do drama therapy? Do I want to do, like, what is this? And I found out that in San Diego, there is a school called the Expressive Arts Institute, that where I was able to, and I was like, expressive arts therapy, what is this?
Yeah.
And when I found out that it was encompassing all the different art modalities into this a therapeutic session, and it's just about being creative and just exploring the world of the arts. And I was like, oh wow, this is for me. Like, this
Mhm.
is even better because it was, I just always at that point then identified my person as just myself as a creative, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
how it started, and I came down to San Diego. Here I
Mhm.
am now, like, in my 30s going back to get my master's, and
Wow.
it
Congratulations.
and yeah, and then that's how this all came about, because then after I graduated, I'd say it was around COVID, so it was tough for me to find my place. What am I going to do with this? I have to make it my own. I have to create a job for myself and get myself out there. And I was blessed to have met some really amazing families within this community
Mhm.
that I was able to uh, begin this path for myself, and it's been incredible. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Amazing. It's so amazing to see how your own personal experience and how you were able to tap into those emotions there and want to dive deeper has turned into a business for you. It's kind of similar to what you're doing with young people, is finding what is it that brings them joy, what is it that drives them, and what comes natural, easy, and that they
Mhm.
really have a passion for, and turning that into a business. I mean, you did that yourself.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's really great. So, tell us a little bit more about some of the benefits of expressive arts therapy, and maybe some of the myths around it. Maybe some people aren't aware of it even as a resource for their neurodiverse child, teen, young adult.
Yeah, totally. So like I was saying, how powerful the arts are. I look at the arts as they are a container. So they serve as a container, and I feel as though the arts safely can hold our feelings. This container can hold our feelings, can hold our thoughts, which many times our words, our voice may not be able to express this.
Mhm.
And so with expressive arts therapy, this type of therapy will unleash self expression. It can empower us, like I was saying, build self confidence. I've noticed that. Self worth. It helps with social emotional awareness.
Mhm.
Um, Using this tactile kinesthetic approach that we have, awakening our senses when we're in that art making space,
Mhm.
that also can help cope with anxieties. And also, too, through this art making, um, like it's so what we do is we call it, we're able to decenter. And so when we're in the art making process, we call that decentering, which is where we're able to tap into this imaginal world, um, outside of reality, right? So like when I was talking about being on stage,
Mhm.
that is me being in the imaginal world. That is me outside of reality, what's going on out
Mhm.
there. And I'm able to be in the art making process. I'm able to be completely immersed in that. So
Mhm.
when we are in that world, that art making place, we're able to explore something that may be hidden within us,
Mhm.
and through that art making process, what may have been submerged within us can then become it revealed within our image or our
Mhm.
poetry or our movement, all of this, our music, all of these. And that's also what's so cool about expressive arts therapy is
Mhm.
this intermodal approach that we use. So as long as you are willing to you're willing to tap into your creative side,
Okay.
that's all it takes,
Mhm.
and being brave enough to do so and explore these different modalities. It can be it's really fun. Yeah, it's amazing what may show up in these sessions too. So I don't know if you want me to really quickly explain to you what an expressive arts therapy session would be like.
Yeah, that was definitely going to be my question, but I just wanted to say for
Yeah,
fans who are just kind of diving in, thanks for
yeah,
joining us. We're here on our Lunch and Learn, learning about creative supports for neurodiverse teens and adults. We're discussing this with Cassandra Lee Walker. This show is sponsored by the Sanford Autism Advocacy Group, where we empower schools, families, and community members so that the autistic child can thrive. And I'm the owner there. I am your host here today. And we're discussing a variety of supports that can support our neurodiverse teen and adult. Expressive arts therapy being one that Cassandra leads in her company. And yeah, for families who are maybe unfamiliar, it sounds like if you have a young person who may be neurodiverse, maybe struggling with levels of anxiety, maybe having challenges expressing themselves verbally, maybe having some social anxiety or social skill challenge or things of that nature. It sounds like expressive arts therapy could be an avenue of support. I think most of the times I'm a parent of an autistic child. She's 13 now. Sometimes we think about speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical, but we don't think about other ways, more creative ways. So, yeah, let us know what an expressive arts therapy session could look like.
yeah. So the way that a session could look like would be that client would come in, and it starts off in an office setting where I like to actually move. So I go in from the office into the art making. So
Mhm.
I'll explain to you. It's not just it's actually going from chatting with them about what's going on, why
Mhm.
are you here, what are you feeling, what is the problem that you're having, um, and after chatting for a while and hearing what's going on with the client, then based on our their, I guess, what art modality they're most comfortable in, what um, then through that desired art modality, we can then go into the art making process, and so that's then uh, we'll step away from the office literally and go into the studio, the art
Mhm.
making process. This is that decentering that I was talking
Mhm.
about. This is that tapping into the art making world, the imaginal world. So there, then the client will, I'll give them different materials. So maybe if there's oil pastels and watercolor and so whatever it is that we're based on, I'll give them whatever we're working on. I'll give them art making materials, and then we'll work while they're working on their art. uh, I'll talk with them through this process, through this journey of what I notice. So,
Mhm.
so it's like using this phenomenological approach. It's like just looking at everything from the surface, not placing any sort of intention on anything, not interpreting any of their work. Really, just truly what I notice. I notice that you know. There's a lot of big swirly, shapes. I see a lot of, oh, I noticed that you placed this here. I noticed um, the different perspectives, looking at it from different angles, like just stating things that I noticed. I noticed that you looked like you were having a difficult time and you were erasing a lot during a point in in your art making process. Things that I just notice, whether it's like emotional stuff
Mhm.
or it's just uh, part of the image, what I've noticed on paper. And then from the noticing, they'll kind of walk me through it too, and share with me uh, what came up and what they discovered through that art making process. And typically then what ends up happening is sometimes maybe a message may even emerge from this art making process. And
Mhm.
then we wrap up our session, we're going to now step away from the art making process and we're going to go back into the
Mhm. Okay.
setting, right? Setting there before we step away and we go into the real world, before we go into the world again, right? And so then we'll chat about, we call this the harvesting. We'll chat about what we discovered through the art making process and how that can be related to what they came in with initially, the quote unquote problem, what they were going, and then we can take that and talk about what was discovered in the art making process, what they've you know and we can then bring that into the outside world, and and they can use that as to help them once they leave the space. So yeah, that's how a session goes. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's amazing. I could see that being so powerful for so many individuals who, again, may struggle to verbally explain themselves. Maybe they're, finding themselves dysregulated in different environments and maybe not even understanding within themselves what's going on, but in a space, in an environment that is not judgmental, it is just very open and fluid, they might even find out some things about themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sounds amazing, and you kind of being a guide along that,
Mhm.
supporting them. Yeah, it sounds amazing. For people, I could totally see a lot of our teens and young adults benefiting from that. Yeah. Now, I know in your program, currently Expressive Arts Therapy,
Yes.
you're supporting primarily adults. I know that you can support people, 18 and over in that work. Who is your ideal client at this time?
Right now, I work with neurodiverse adults. So adults, I guess. Yeah. But anywhere from age 18 and up.
Mhm.
However, for expressive arts therapy, I can also work with youth, too.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't I mean, I haven't shared this yet, but a
Mhm.
colleague of mine, Michelle Wolski, she's also an expressive arts therapist.
Mhm.
We share a studio space together, and we have a class called Art Creates Connection.
Mhm.
And that workshop is once a month, and it's for we capped it from 9 to 12, but what we're noticing is like we have wiggle room there, like younger and a little bit older too, like depending. So but yeah, that workshop is geared towards uh kiddos. So
Great.
yeah.
Great. Yeah. Yet again, another opportunity. I love that in a small group environment, kind of doing some of that exploration. And then I guess people could as well work with you individually if they wanted to do that on an individual level.
Yes.
You know, I know that we don't have a whole lot of time and there's so much I want to go over today, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about the micro business mentoring that you're doing and what that looks like for our young people. Because I know
Mhm.
that that is an issue. If anyone is out there who knows about autism research, neurodiversity research, disability, and what happens for adults once our kiddos move on into adulthood, often there is that failure to thrive, unfortunately, statistically. A lot of our young people are not being successful in securing employment or being able to maintain employment. And so I believe the idea of becoming an entrepreneur, having your own business, maybe having a family member support you in that could definitely be a way to go. So tell us a little bit about that that you offer there through the micro business mentoring.
Yeah. So that falls under the umbrella of uh creative arts mentoring. So, as a creative arts mentor, I also then will offer my services as a micro business mentor to those that I work with creatively at the studio. For I guess it really truly it started very organically. I I guess I was working with as a student of mine as expressive arts therapy. I came in as her expressive arts therapist. And what I soon then noticed is, and it was really cool how this just happened very organically, is that beading for her was something she's done ever since she was a young girl. It was a way for her to regulate herself. It kept her feeling calm. And it was something that was really enjoyable for her to do, something that she enjoyed. And through and then it was like when it dawned on me, and with talking with her family, it was like this is an incredible opportunity for this young woman to start a bracelet making, a beading business based off of something that she is so skilled at, she's been doing since she was a young girl, and that she can now profit from that, and she can gain so much, by doing that. Just and it was at that moment that I was also working with another family where it kind of started me out, and it was with Katie Flores and Inclusion Art by Katie. I am her micro business mentor, and with working with her family too, that's what I was hired on as. It was like, okay, hey, like I could use some help with Katie's business. What are your thoughts on this? How can you help, like with, could get signing her up for shows, and finding, like working on her social media, and so giving the opportunity for families, to take a step back a bit and let me kind of take on that responsibility that they have, been living with, and helping them too, with all of these things that I think that, at times it can be a lot, and so kind of offering, right, to give to help and provide support there
Mhm.
too. And so it was like, and helping with markets and that
Mhm.
and whatnot. And it was so like I said, so it was just so amazing because then from that, it's like I it I've seen just all of these adults like businesses just like, oh, it's so cool just to see them flourish, and they're just so lit up, and everything that they do and just is so beautiful, and every it's like I'm right now I'm working with Inclusion Art by Katie. I'm working with Kevin the Baker,
Mhm.
Emily Rose Sews.
Mhm.
She's an incredible fiber artist. You know, you have an amazing baker. And then the story that I was sharing with you earlier too about the young girl with her beading business, that's Stephanie, and her business is called Embracelets. And uh, it's just incredible, as you know, so helping them with their branding, helping them with their logos, designing when it comes to some graphic work and things. You know, I'm not high skill at a lot of this, but I have enough skills, to do it.
Well,
Website,
consider I'm
yeah,
sorry to cut you
yeah,
off. This is such a valuable resource that you have. And I want to make sure I get one more question there before we go today. For our parents who are watching or who may find this video later, they may have this idea of, wow, I have a teen or I have a young person. They can do something. They have a skill, a thing. Like, what would be an initial starting point for a parent that is considering, now that they hear about this, that this idea of micro business could be an option for their young person?
excuse me. What was the question?
So, what is a starting point for a
Oh,
family, for a parent who, after hearing about this, realizes, wow, I have a young person, they are into whatever it is. Where would I even start? If
yeah.
their thought.
A starting point, I guess for me, the starting point was I would first it is maybe it is something working on a logo, working on getting their products out there, so working on you could do so much just on social media now. You don't necessarily need to have a website and all of that.
Mm,
um, Creating an Instagram page
mm,
with their products, showcasing their products, um, try working on getting into markets,
mhm,
or something like that, or if it's visual arts, submitting them into shows,
mhm,
showcases around San Diego.
mhm.
um, a lot of that I just kind of do by it's a lot of research. It's just really kind of looking at what's happening here in San Diego, and I find that on social media and stuff. And then um yeah, and then I guess like building the brand, what is it, who's your thinking a lot about maybe even if there's possibilities of storefronts, that
Mm,
there's different locations here. For instance, Blissful Seeds is an amazing storefront that is available and supports this community, so like looking into different locations too. Where can my child's products, like what audience does it speak to? Where can I place their products? And kind of just being brave and going out there and pitching them, because you know what, they're amazing and you believe in them, and it's just,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
like
Getting it
getting
out.
out there, right?
Sure, yeah. And I know,
So
families, if you're watching us from other parts of the country, we are here based in San Diego, California. But similarly, if you have organizations in your community that maybe could be a location that could support your child's product, definitely consider reaching out to those. I think that could span anywhere across the U.S. I was recently in North Carolina. There was a coffee shop a coffee shop that employed like, I don't know, 30% of the individuals that worked there were neurodivergent. So I'm like, they have little things there around with the coffee, but other little things you could buy, t-shirts and such. So yeah, just looking for those opportunities where you could make a connection for your young person. And I love that idea of social media. You don't even need a website these days. It's just,
Yeah.
starting an account, having that logo, starting the account and showing the world the value of the products that your child creates. That can be amazing. So good stuff. Good stuff. Well, as we wrap up here today, Cassandra, what is one final thought, word, idea that you'd like to leave with the families and people that are watching?
Uh, Trust the arts. They
Mm,
hold a lot. They really do. They hold a lot. I started off by talking about that container,
yeah.
and yeah, and that's where the arts are very powerful. So, um, and if you want to see more of, I guess I would say head on to my website, and you can. I mean, these artists that I'm talking about, these amazing entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
They're also listed on my website, and you can follow their Instagrams and go to their websites, or and really just check it out. It's so inspiring. Every single day that I walk into work, I'm so grateful, and it's so incredible to be around this community. I love it. So,
Oh, I love
yeah.
it. Oh, and you're the kind of person, the right energy, the right person, it sounds like, for this space. So again, so glad, Cassandra, to have you here today. Go ahead and give a shout out to your website, email. How can people contact you either for expressive arts therapy
Mhm.
or for more about micro business mentoring?
Yeah. So my website is CassandraLeeWalker.com,
Mm.
and my email address is laugh lettuce dot exa at gmail.com. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. And I'm adding that here as well. Your website, CassandraLeeWalker.com. So, again, it's just been a pleasure. Today, we have been discussing creative supports for neurodiverse teens and adults. There are many out there, expressive arts therapy, micro business mentoring being two of them. So honored again to have Cassandra here today and sharing about that topic. And then along those lines as well, if you have a neurodiverse teen or adult and you're a parent in need of IEP help, or you're a professional with questions about IEPs, feel free to reach out to us at SD, like San Diego, autismhelp.com. Again, I'm Crystal Stanford and Cassandra Lee Walker. Thank you again, Cassandra.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yes, everyone have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.